Like a vampire, I don't need to know you. Come with me, I'll show you. You can find me backstage, I'm a party with a Nicolas Cage. Girl, I want that body, you know you got a body like Nicolas Cage. You ain't gotta be scared, you ain't gotta be afraid, baby. It's just you and me alone tonight with Nicolas Cage.
Hey guys, Late Night Cage Fight. We're back again. Season 4. This is the first official film. We're going to be talking about Snake Eyes with our dearest Nicolas Cage. This is Cagefighter Reese. I'm here with Cagefighter Sean and Cagefighter Steve. Are you guys pumped to talk about Snake Eyes?
Oh yeah.
I'm just really excited that we're finally getting to cover the G.I. Joe cinematic universe on this podcast.
Sean.
I know that Nicolas Cage is a big G.I. Joe fan, and Snake Eyes is a character
Sean, that's the wrong Snake Eyes.
Shit.
Sean, you pulled a Steve.
Did you pull a Steve? I think he pulled a Steve by just disappearing.
I think so.
Where did he go?
Can you not hear me?
I can now.
Oh, okay.
That was
weird.
Did you hear him, Steve?
I never left.
No.
Yeah, it was like
I think my enthusiasm for the G.I. Joe cinematic universe and Henry Golding's storied acting career is, just...
Well, I find it strange that you would get confused with the G.I. Joe movie because we literally watched Nic Cage's Snake Eyes together. We're kind of switching gears to a newer format. So what we're going to do this time is we're just going to take each movie one by one at a time. Steve will take it first. I'll get sloppy seconds, and then Sean can have whatever's left. Does that sound good, Steve?
That's how we usually do it.
And as part of that, I'm just going to name every episode as the title of the movie and review, if that's what it is. Because I feel like long-term, people who are looking for these episodes, they're just looking for whatever movie it is we're talking about. And so I'm just stripping things away that the naive part of me when I first started this thought would be a good idea. And I've come to this conclusion after a long time editing these episodes, producing them, listening to other podcasts, and mostly just listening to myself and realizing kind of how funny / sad it was, or it is, to listen to our old episodes and hear me trying so hard to turn this into like a scholarly film critics type of podcast. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've just given up. I've basically given up on that. I mean, if we can decide how deep we want to go, kind of on the fly. I think that's the best way.
Just the rabbit hole go.
Yeah, so we'll just do it that way.
So long story short, creativity, we're not doing that anymore.
No, it's over. Game over.
It's all about search engine optimization.
Yeah, you didn't buy the stickers, right? I got a whole stack of stickers, bro.
They're Stanley?
No, Broderbund Software is no longer sponsoring this podcast.
Oh, okay.
But that's the way it's going to go. We're going to do each film by itself. That way folks can find it easier. And then that's that. Go listen to our Snake Eyes one. Go listen to our 8mm one. Whatever it is. Our Christmas Carol one. Actually, I don't think we should do that by itself. Scratch that. I read that Nic Cage, like, his character is barely even in that movie. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I can, because we were gonna cover that one year, and I watched it, and God, yeah, I wish I didn't watch that movie, but
Steve, I love how much we've unintentionally tortured Sean.
Yeah,
it's really great.
I think there have been multiple years where we have planned out holiday episodes, and I've actually done the homework to get
Yeah.
prepared for those, and then
Sorry, guys.
it just
It's the holidays. We're busy. Sorry you watched those terrible movies. Oh, man. Well, before we get into Snake Eyes, A24, they have a new movie that is going to drop sometime next year, I think, starring Nic Cage. So our boys at A24, and girls, I guess, who did, like Midsommar, Hereditary, Beau is Afraid, which is another Cage list that'll be coming out soon. Maybe even before this one. They got our boy, old Nick, as the star. That's awesome, right? How do you feel about that?
it looks really good.
What movie?
It's called Dream Scenario. And we're going to have Steve load up the trailer so we can all watch it together.
Oh, we're watching it together?
Yeah. Do you want to?
Okay. Yeah. Let's watch it. Let me...
Steve, while you're getting that queued up, I actually have a small piece of Nicolas Cage. I guess you couldn't call it news, but
An update.
I guess you could call it news. An update, if you will. So you may have remembered a movie that we had covered, a newer Nicolas Cage movie called Willy's Wonderland.
Uh-huh.
Now,
How could I forget?
Yeah, so when that movie came out, a lot of people said, okay, well, this is kind of a knockoff of Five Nights at Freddy's. And at the point that movie came out, there was not going to be a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Well, that recently has changed. Actually, I think this week, the official Five Nights at Freddy's movie has dropped, and I just wanted to point out that the Rotten Tomatoes score for Five Nights at Freddy's is currently sitting at a 26%.
Oh,
now
that low.
Yeah, but actually, Willy's Wonderland is currently sitting at a 61. So,
I swear,
our boy Big Dick Nick may have just cock-slapped Freddy in his stupid bear face.
Yeah, asshole. That's what you
Agreed.
get. I thought that I had read the early reviews were positive. But I think a lot of things that are usually wrong or inappropriate.
I've heard that, I have a few friends that are fans of the franchise. And
well, you tell your friends and you tell all the fans out there, when this movie comes out, I want to see you there. I want to see you at the premiere, at the picket lines, protesting. Nic Cage did it first, and if you're going to do it again, he should be in there.
Yep.
Doing it right.
Do it right.
It's plagiarism. That's really my view on it. It's straight up plagiarism.
That's what I was saying. A friend of mine reached out to me and he said, hey, I heard there's a new Five Nights at Freddy movie. I'm super excited. And I was like, yeah, I heard that's just a ripoff of Willy's Wonderland.
Yeah, it is. So I wouldn't. Oh, what was that? Did somebody drop out?
No, that was probably someone joining the stream.
Oh.
Was it Nick?
I was going to make a terrible joke, so just forget what I was going to say. Hey, we're going to watch the Dream Scenario trailer by A24, starring Nicolas Cage, Julianne Nicholson, and Michael Cera. Written and directed by Christopher Borgli. And it has a release date currently of, next month, November 10th.
Nice.
I didn't know it was going to street so soon. So we may have a review for this earlier than anticipated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should reach out to A24, see if we can maybe get a
that would be gold.
copy.
That would be lit. Let me just read this little blurb about Dream Scenario. Hapless family man Paul Matthews, played by Nicolas Cage, finds his life turned upside down when millions of strangers suddenly start seeing him in their dreams. But when his nighttime appearances take a nightmarish turn, Paul is forced to navigate his newfound stardom in this wickedly entertaining comedy from writer-director Christopher Borgley and producer Ari Aster.
Oh, wow.
That's right, boys.
All right,
Buckle
here we
up.
go.
All right, let's do the trailer.
Why does the zebra look
Nick's
away?
airline has seen better days.
Hey, focus.
Is this how it went?
No, it's different now.
Oh, you've been on my mind recently. Because you keep popping up in my dreams. You don't do anything, you're just there.
So, this specific person, the remarkable nobody.
He pops up in all of our dreams.
Right?
A picture?
Have you been dreaming about me?
Have I been dreaming about you?
Yeah. There's like 100 messages. Somebody wants to interview me.
I like this character.
Maybe you should take a minute and think before you do anything drastic.
It's pretty different from who he normally plays.
Yeah.
Why me?
I like that.
I'm special, I guess.
You should think before you do something drastic. Nic Cage.
Doesn't feel to go viral.
Who's actually had a dream about me?
Oh, we got some Crocs. Or Gators? Gators.
It's killing me, but I'm going to have nightmares.
Oh, Freddy!
People are dreaming about.
Me too.
Yeah, no, it's something.
How's he dealing with all this?
We're not even the type
I just wonder where this is going to go. I get the setup, but where is this going?
Maybe thousands. I hope I'm behaving through your dreams.
Oh, no, you're not.
So I'm finally cool, huh?
I didn't say that.
You hear that, Janet? She's saying I'm a cool dad. Oh,
I really feel like you're playing with fire here.
Oh, God.
I'm not actually doing anything. to
That's
them.
cool. That's a really cool shot.
Yes.
Side effects. You should be prepared for that.
Maybe we should cool this thing off.
Okay. The side effects.
It's embarrassing.
Which part?
It's gonna get weird.
Guess I'll see you in my dreams.
Yeah. Of course not.
Oh, I am stoked.
Yeah, this looks good. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for this.
Maybe they'll let me bring in my whole podcast recording setup into the theater so I can stream it for you guys when I see it. So that was a
I'm
joke.
excited.
Oh man.
We do like a live theater experience.
Yeah. It's totally a joke.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
I assumed you were going to fly up here and we were just going to make it all work.
Nope.
Okay,
It's
well,
not gonna happen that
thanks
way.
for getting my hopes up.
Well, I'll make it up to you. I can appear in your dreams. If you want.
You know, I had a dream once
Mm-hmm.
that there were two of me.
Yeah. And then what?
One of them was a girl.
Okay. And then?
That's the end of the dream.
That is not the end of the dream. Because I've heard this dream before. And I was hoping you would finish it.
Yeah, so was I.
We're on to Snake Eyes. 1998 American mystery thriller film. Directed and produced by Brian De Palma. He has directed quite a few films. I know he directed the first Mission Impossible from 1996. Let's see, some cult favorites such as Sisters, I don't know that. Phantom of the Paradise, Blowout, Casualties of War, and Carlito's Way. Oh, okay. The Untouchables?
Raising
Carrie?
Cain.
Scarface? Oh, this guy is legit.
Yeah.
He actually founded the Raising Cane's chicken franchise.
Is that? Are you messing with me right now?
That's also tonight's sponsor.
Because I was just there for lunch. Brian De Palma, thank you so much for Raising Cane's. I like that sauce they use. Good stuff.
Sauce.
Nicolas Cage plays a detective investigating a political assassination. Spoilers! At a boxing match in Atlantic City, New Jersey, with supporting roles played by Gary Sinise, John Hurd, Kevin Dunn, Luis Guzman, other people. There's other people in the movie, but why do we even talk about them? Do you care about the other people?
So, the only
that
other
was a
people...
rhetorical question, Steve.
Oh, sorry.
But continue, I'm curious.
Well, I was going to say the only other people that I find interesting about this movie specifically is Kevin Dunn. You know that Kevin Dunn's character was originally supposed to be Will Smith.
No.
Yeah, but Will Smith turned down the role for what was he doing that year? Enemy of the State.
West.
No, Enemy of the State, another conspiracy thriller.
Yeah. Maybe this was part of a kind of a trend at the time. These kind of political thrillers.
All I'm saying is that the Secretary of Defense that got killed looked a lot like Donald Rumsfeld.
He did, now that you mention it. Also, the music was done by Ryuichi Sakamoto, who passed away this past March.
R.I.P.
World famous musician and producer. But the music to me sounded like kind of Star Wars-y at times. It sounded sci-fi at times. I felt like the music was a little all over the place, but it was good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it was pretty unique, actually.
It was.
I honestly almost felt like something out of a video game at some point.
Yes. Totally agree. Totally. Steve, what were you doing?
Tubular.
When you heard the music, what were you doing?
The music to this, I was watching the movie.
Okay, just making sure.
I was right there with you guys.
It didn't move you to do like some kind of interpretive dance or something?
Not this time, but
not this time.
It was good. It was good.
Okay. Well, overall, the film garnered mixed reviews from critics who criticized the film's story. Oh, everybody's got to be a critic, huh? The writing and pacing, while praising its style and the performances. It certainly has style, and it also has performances, so they're right. They're right about that.
That's true.
It made about 104 mil against a 73 mil budget, so not bad. Thank you, Nic Cage. Right? That's how we measure that he was successful. And if it had lost money, then we just blame everybody else. That's how it works, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about what happened in the movie, or do we want to talk about how we felt about the movie?
That's up to you. I'm prepared to go either way.
Well, it's set in, like I said...
Give a little recap.
Yeah, it's in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it's at a boxing match, and it's a very, very stormy night. As the first scene cues you in on that with the weather lady talking about the storm. And it just kind of...
Tropical Storm Jezebel.
That's right. It's not a hurricane. Yet. But there just so happens to be Lincoln Tyler, heavyweight champion, playing boxing tonight against Jose Pacifico Ruiz. This is supposed to be a big match. Like, what would you compare this to? This would be like Logan Paul versus Alf.
I don't know.
Police detective Rick Santoro. Rick Santoro. He's at the boxing match. He's meeting up with his best friend, who is a U.S. Navy commander, Kevin Dunn, played by Gary Sinise, who works with the Department of Defense. I don't know how many times he says, I'm DOD, I'm DOD, I'm DOD.
I'm DOD, bitches.
He's escorting Defense Secretary Charles Kirkland and Arena Director Gilbert Powell. Now, I kept hearing the name Powell, and it wasn't until towards the end of the movie that I figured it out, but I thought that they were actually talking about Colin Powell.
Oh.
So I was a little confused for a bit. Yeah, so they're at the fight after a trip to Norfolk, Virginia. That's important to the story. But you see Kevin Dunn, the escort for the defense secretary, kind of makes a boo-boo and doesn't do a very good job. And the defense secretary, Charles Kirkland, ends up with a hole in his chest.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just needs a little hole.
But this whole scene, this whole sequence of events is shot really cool. It gives you the impression that it's one long continuous take. And I think we all agreed that that was impressive. And I actually just read that the opening 20-minute sequence is actually not one continuous shot. There are hidden edits. But at least 12 minutes of it was done in a single take.
Dang.
And I would say the effectiveness of this movie is in how it shows you this opening scene, but then later it kind of fills it in. It's a good thriller in that sense. Right? You start to almost go ahead.
It almost gives you the different perspectives of the people that you see at the beginning of the movie. Because I remember, Reese, you made this comment that, we're watching a boxing match, but they don't show us the boxing match.
Yes.
But then, eventually as the movie goes on, you kind of see these different angles of what's going on. Yeah. And it reveals more about the greater scheme of what's happening.
Right. I always get suspicious in a movie when there is some action happening off screen and actors are reacting to it for longer than feels right. So that's either intentional or bad filmmaking, and this quality of a film obviously is not bad. So that made me suspicious. Oh, I wonder why they're not showing that. And then, of course, we find out kind of like how this movie is structured and that it was intentional, which I appreciated. I thought that was cool. But there's all these other little elements happening in this scene as well, and there's a lot of character building happening at this time because we're finding out that Rick Santoro is, you'd call him a dirty cop, right? I mean, he takes bribes. He's betting on this match. He's trying to make a lot of money. He's very comfortable in his life as someone happily married, but also actively cheating on his wife. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he kind of brags about it.
Yeah. He brags about it. People in his
he seems like a pretty good guy to me, but
by today's standards, it's just kind of like whatever.
Hey, he's a cop that doesn't beat his wife, so...
I mean, after Bad Lieutenant, he's a saint to me.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Sports betting is legal now, so...
Yeah?
Nothing wrong there.
Yeah. There you go.
He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So he gets distracted by an attractive redhead. I like how attractive is actually written in there. Like, isn't that subjective? I don't know if she was really attractive, I guess. An attractive redhead named Serena who wears a ruby ring. Oh, yeah. And
there's nobody who doesn't find Miss Bellum from Powerpuff Girls attractive.
Oh, don't get me going. This is supposed to be PG-13, Sean.
Is it?
No. I mark every episode. I mark every episode as explicit because I don't want to deal with that. She leaves her seat and is then taken by Julia Costello, a mysterious woman with platinum blonde hair and a white satin suit. When Ruiz unexpectedly knocks out Tyler, gunshots ring out. mortally wounding Kirkland and grazing Julia, who loses her glasses and blonde wig. So we see she has naturally dark hair. Kevin Dunn, who is the commander who is escorting, what is he, the defense secretary? He then kills the sniper.
I'd just like to say that no Kirkland products were harmed in the making of this movie.
That's great, yeah. I was also curious. I didn't see any Costco ads.
It's true.
in the ring.
Yeah. I don't think Nick has a membership, so,
Maybe not.
they're really cracking down on that.
So the arena goes into lockdown, and I'm wondering if this is going to become a Die Hard kind of situation where Nic Cage is going to have to kill a lot of people, and I was fine with that. But it's a smarter movie than that. It's not really what happens. Julia escapes into the casino and covers her wounds in pieces of cloth after stealing a black satin jacket, and she disguises herself as a hooker. Nic Cage notices that the knocked out, quote unquote, Tyler awoke instantly when the shots rang out. And he studies the fight tape and realizes that the punch didn't connect, which is hilarious because when I saw that in the movie, I thought that was a goof. But no. See, I always think I'm smarter than these movies. So Nic Cage then meets up with old Tyler, who confesses that he threw the fight in order to pay off some gambling debts. But he didn't know that anyone would be killed. And he reveals that Serena the redhead, who tricked Kevin into leaving his post, paid him to take a dive. With Tyler, Serena, and the sniper, along with the man who signaled Tyler to go down, and whoever gave him the go-ahead involved, what kind of sentence is this? This whole thing needs to be copy edited right here. With Tyler. Please. What the fuck? Tell me if this sentence makes Tell me if this sentence makes sense to you. With Tyler, Serena, and the sniper, along with the man who signaled Tyler to go down, and whoever gave him the go-ahead involved, Rick, suspecting a conspiracy, reveals everything he has learned to Kevin, who confesses that the trip to Norfolk was to test the Air Guard Metal Gear missile defense system, which Powell's company was backing.
Yeah.
Was that a real sentence?
Yeah, they were naming off people. There was maybe some missing commas, but
jeez, or extra commas
in my head. Yeah.
This episode is brought to us by Grammarly. Do you want to write more gooder? Then enable the Grammarly Chrome extension.
Nic Cage figures out that the sniper is a known Palestinian terrorist named Tariq Ben Rabat, who assassinated Kirkland over the Pentagon's large-scale defense cooperation with this. See, this is so bad. The way they wrote this, it needs edited. Nic Cage figures out that the sniper is a known Palestinian terrorist named Tariq Ben Rabat, who assassinated Kirkland over the Pentagon's large-scale defense cooperation with, and weapons systems transfers to Israel. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Does someone else want to take over?
No, keep going. You're doing great. I love it.
Holy shit.
I love it. We'll just fix it and post edit.
I may even keep it. I don't know.
Just like to say that Nicolas Cage, a full Hamas supporter.
There we go. Here it comes.
Speaking of Hamas supporters, did you know that Gilbert Powell's character is actually based on Donald Trump?
No.
Yeah.
Is that so?
Yep.
Well, nothing.
His character in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
So have we already revealed that that Nic Cage's best friend, the commander, Rick, is actually a bad guy? Was that obvious in my plot synopsis?
I think so, but I think you gave up halfway through.
Yeah, well, and Nic Cage doesn't want to believe that. He's not on to Kevin for some time.
Not Kevin.
Anyone but Kevin.
He's too lame.
He's my favorite minion. That was terrible. I've watched too much Minions. So Rick studies the surveillance footage to find Serena, while Kevin continues searching for Julia, aided by Powell's security guards. However, once they split up, it is revealed, there it is, that Kevin is actually the fifth party and mastermind of the conspiracy. He then kills Serena and the man who signaled Tyler to go down. That's right, there's that guy in the crowd. He looks like the bad guy from Last Action Hero or something. And he has some kind of code phrase he's telling them. When they say the code phrase, that's when Tyler was supposed to throw the match, but he screwed up. He wants to kill them and hide their bodies to prevent the truth from getting out. And Kevin then enlists Tyler by revealing the truth to him. Julia seduces Ned Campbell. All I could think of by this name was Nev Campbell. Was that the chick from Scream? But Ned Campbell looked like what's his name? The guy from Seinfeld or the guy from Jurassic Park who tried to steal the DNA?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
He's this sleazy gambling guy, and both Rick and Kevin discover this simultaneously and give chase, but Rick reaches her first and takes her into protective custody. I'm going to save you. In a stairwell, Julia confesses that she's actually an analyst. So this was the Metal Gear Solid cutscene, in my opinion. Because she reveals that she's an analyst who worked on the air guard tests. And Snake, I discovered the results were faked to make the missile defense system look like it was working when it was actually not. The system failed to work, and she tipped off Kirkland to the deception. However, Kevin discovered her actions and arranged the entire conspiracy to kill both her and Kirkland using Rabat's background as a rabidly anti-Israel terrorist to have him kill the Secretary of Defense and then be immediately killed off himself. Rick discovers Kevin's involvement and, despite initially refusing to believe it, that's all they're going to say about that? The dude was in straight up denial. It can't be him. He finally accepts the truth. So then Nic Cage throws Julia in a warehouse and locks the door.
Cage.
In a cage. While he inspects the footage of a new floating camera, a camera on a dirigible. We would call that today in the 2020s a drone, but this was pre-drone technology. And discovers for himself that best friend Kevin, he's helping the terrorist. Actually, probably hired the terrorist. And also killed the terrorist. Does that kind of make him a good guy, though? Wow, what a conundrum. Like, if you hire terrorists to execute a terrorist attack.
The hiring of the terrorist, was he actually a terrorist, or was that like an undercover identity as a terrorist, or was he like an ex-terrorist that had become part of the military?
Is he a counter-terrorist?
I think he was definitely working in...
no, that's a Counter-Strike thing.
He was definitely working out of hatred for Israel.
Okay.
Kevin confronts Rick. Okay, what? No, you're not finished. Let me hear your argument.
I was just gonna say it just confused me. That's all.
Yeah.
His role in all of that as a terrorist was confusing.
Yeah, they didn't really. There wasn't like an extended conversation between Rick and this guy.
Yeah.
Right. So that could have been a little bit clearer. I agree. Kevin confronts Rick and confesses that his motive was to prevent any further attacks on U.S. ships. This reminded me of The Rock. Remember? When Ed Harris on The Rock is like, I gotta protect my men. So he name drops USS Renville, which I think is kind of fake as fuck. I don't think this actually happened, but it said that Kevin had to leave several men to drown in order to prevent the ship from sinking following an Iraqi missile strike. So he offers
Should
Rick...
have been called Renfield.
He offers Rick $1 million for Julia's location. Rick says, yeah, she's over here, and opens the door, and they both kill her and run off, and then the missile system gets put into Israel, and they blow up all the nations around the world, and then everyone gets nuked except Nic Cage and Rick, and they live in a biodome with a bunch of hookers, and they get to gamble every day, and that's how it ends. It's great.
Great.
And that's the segue into Escape from New Jersey with Snake Plissken.
Yeah. It's crazy how it all worked out. I'm lying.
Yeah.
I'm lying. Nic Cage, his character, obviously refuses to give up the location of Julia. So
Which
Kevin
definitely pissed Kevin off.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
This is
He's
the
like,
time you're going to be a good guy? Bullshit.
Right. I've been able to bribe you like this whole time. So Kevin has Tyler, the boxer dude, beat the hell out of him. But Rick has some guts. He has some balls. Right? He doesn't give in. He doesn't break. So Kevin, very clearly in front of the camera so the camera can see, plants a tracking device on Rick's back and follows him to the warehouse. Just
leaves him there unconscious and just walks off.
That's right. They leave him there, and then he gets up and he's like, "Oh, they're gonna kill Julia. They're gonna kill you,
Rachel."
He saunters like a zombie to her location, and it's a very awkward follow scene where Rick follows him, and it's just weird. I don't know. Steve commented on it, and I was like, yeah, it's odd. But that's how he learns the location of Julia. And then suddenly, the movie just gets really weird here for some reason. I mean, you forget all about this storm. There's certain points in the movie where you can tell there's a storm, but I forgot about it. And then suddenly it becomes an actual hurricane.
Yeah, I feel like they just planted that seed at the beginning just to add tension for the finale.
Yeah.
It doesn't play any part in the movie.
No.
They could have at least had, like, the power flicker or something.
What year did Perfect Storm come out? Because I remember Perfect Storm being really popular when I was a kid, which would have been around the same time.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, it was just after that, 2000.
Yeah. But the thing is with this storm, there's really like two scenes where they show it. That's at the very beginning with the reporter, and then at the end when it becomes a hurricane and it knocks over the big Powell globe from the top of the arena. But I feel like I don't understand why they needed this setup. I understand why they used this setup in Con Air. Do you remember they couldn't get the plane off the ground because there was a storm, right?
Yeah.
Was that Con Air?
So
yeah,
my guess is it was something to go along the lines with, people being trapped there. And
Right.
And also kind of explaining why Nick doesn't have any backup.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay. There's a storm, and that's limiting police response and whatnot. And like Sean said, it does add some tension, which this movie desperately tries to do throughout. And it's not all bad. I thought that the suspense is actually pretty well done. However, I guess we should finish the plot for our Snake Eyes fans out there who are just like, come on, just get to the end, just do it.
So the Patriots AI is resurrected, and Kevin gets inside of the newly built Metal Gear Ouroboros.
Yeah, and the psychic tech, the Psi-Tech is just phenomenal. When a tidal wave hits the boardwalk, Rick uses it as cover to rush Julia outside, where the police, tipped off by Rick, are waiting, and they witness Kevin opening fire. And then we had this scene, right? Unable to escape both the police and the news crew, Kevin commits suicide during the live news feed, which was a questionable manner of doing so, because the camera was facing his back.
So they were
he obviously had the
arguing
gun
to try to get the rating turned down to a PG-13.
Is that your theory?
No, that's why. They were trying
Really?
to get they were trying to get the studio wanted the ratings changed from R to a PG-13. But
That's so interesting.
they
I love
lost.
that factoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he like shoots himself in the.
It's like in the chest or something. But
Yeah,
like
but
the
it kinda
most
looks
weird
like
angle that couldn't possibly be done.
I mean, I'll just say it this way. It looked like he shot himself in a way that he could survive.
Right.
If they got to him right then. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not what's her name from City of Angels, Meg Ryan. I'm not a surgeon. So I don't know. Maybe it is fatal. Poor guy, though. It's sad that his life had to get to that point after trying to kill a bunch of people in a major federal government conspiracy for this weapon system. Nicolas Cage, aka Rick Santoro, is later hailed as a hero, but the press soon uncovers his corruption, because, right, he wasn't always the best cop. So he loses his job and his family. But before going to prison, he meets up with Julia on the boardwalk, and they have this really nice, like,
Romantic
what was that show?
exchange.
Touched by an Angel.
Yeah.
Touched by an Angel scene. Yeah, where she's like, "Thank you. I think what you did was really great. You actually saved the world." And he's like, "I don't believe in saving the world, but I do think you're hot."
You got a wife? No, she ran out on me. You got a girlfriend? No, she ran out on me too. Oh, when am I gonna get to see you again? 12 to 18 months. Oh, I can't wait, baby. It is,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how about that ending credits? So weird.
Oh yeah.
It's like watching the Village People do construction.
Yeah.
And it's just got and they're playing that one song that's kind of very 90s rock, a bit light. However, it's slowly zooming in onto this column, this slab of concrete, and it isn't until I think the credits are completely rolled, that you see that chick's ring, her ruby ring in there, and you realize that they had buried her, or what do you call it? Cemented her. There's a better verb. But her ass was inside that thing. You know what I mean? It'd be like, you know how you can get those eggs at
like a Wonder
Barnes
Egg.
and Noble, where and you can chip away and get a present.
What's in a Wonder Ball? Who knows what surprises the Wonder Ball may hide?
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So I guess it is kind of fun if you think about it that way.
Yeah.
Just get a sledgehammer and go out there.
I wonder what's in this giant slab of concrete.
Oh, snake eyes. And they also say snake eyes twice.
Yeah, they do get the line in there. I was proud of them for that.
They said the line!
Yeah, both Cage and Gary Sinise.
I have to admit that I found this movie, I'm surprised I've never heard of it before.
Okay.
I feel like it's underrated on one hand, where it's a good watch, but it's not. It definitely has its flaws. It's not a.
Okay.
It's not it's not a high. It didn't rate well for a reason.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it
Mm-hmm.
more than Andrew and Amos.
Andrew and Amos. I actually enjoyed it too. I was expecting a little bit more face-off, and by that I mean style. Mm-hmm. And it kind of started out that way, but then I appreciated more of the Mission Impossible elements to it, which is the snappy dialogue and kind of how it's edited and the time-breaking stuff. That's when I was like, oh, okay, this movie is smarter than I thought going into it.
I like
but apparently a lot of
uncovering the mystery bits of it too, where they kind of like keep reassessing the same story over and over again. It kind of reminded me of like Memento, and we've got a Cageless plan for this coming up, but Happy Death Day has some of those elements in it.
I wouldn't imagine that it does, but that's great. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
So, okay. Huh. I wonder what Cage's opinion of Happy Death Day would be.
I don't know. He would probably like it. It seems like it's up his alley.
So, but you know, like I said, Brian De Palma did the first Mission Impossible, and I was super young when I first saw that. But I remember that movie does a great job balancing style with that kind of intellectual type of intrigue. Mm-hmm. I guess you could even call it political intrigue. Even though I would argue both of these movies, I mean, they haven't aged the greatest. They still feel very 90s.
Would you say that that this is a somewhat topical movie for what's going on in the world right now, though?
I feel like, honestly, if this movie disappeared from streaming for a while, I would put on my tinfoil hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because of the whole Israel, Palestine, Gaza, Hamas, all that. Yeah.
This movie actually was one of the first Nicolas Cage movies I had ever heard of when I was young.
Yeah.
My dad actually is not a very big Nicolas Cage fan.
Uh-huh.
Which is why we no longer talk. But
no, Dad.
But this was a movie that he always really liked, and he always had this on VHS. I had seen parts of it here and there, but you know, and so it was good finally getting to see the whole thing. Yeah. And I mean, I think overall, like, this is the type of role that Nick really excels in. I mean, he plays a lot of dirty cops.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only been, I think, one time when he's played a good cop.
Right.
And it could happen to you, but
and I mentioned this while we were watching the film, but I felt like in his performance, he was channeling a lot of Jack Nicholson from Chinatown. And that's one of my favorite detective thrillers, old school detective movie, and I just really felt that with all the smoking and the quips and the kind of anti-hero vibes. So I got a lot of Jack Nicholson feeling from that, but that's fine. I felt like the way that Nick would deliver his lines and stuff was super entertaining, and it kept the movie flowing nicely.
And he also was just dressed like a Yakuza character.
Yeah. Honestly, having never seen this before or even knowing anything about it, only having seen the cover or the poster, I remember seeing the VHS cover at the rental store when I was a kid, and I always assumed that this movie was about some like corrupt Vegas dealer.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Snake Eyes is more of like a gambling thing, and there was like a lot of gambling nuance in this, but it was not a gambling movie.
So that's why I was surprised when it opened up with boxing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Not what I expected.
Yeah, really the only Snake Eyes reference are, just the two lines and the fact that it takes place in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the setting isn't even really that important.
Right. What other thoughts on Snake Eyes? Anything stick out to you fellas?
No. No, like I said, it was a decent overall movie.
Yeah. You know, the last couple movies that we've watched together, we've kind of rated as mid in terms of overall Cage-tastic films, and I would probably rate this one a little higher than mid, personally.
Yeah,
I was actually going to wait until after the recording, but I was going to ask if you guys have ratings for this, like on a 5-point scale.
On a 5?
Yeah.
Probably give it a 7.
7 out of 5.
7 out of 10, maybe like a 3.5 out of 5.
That's about where I was at, honestly. It's like a 3.5 for me. It was an enjoyable watch. I think if I rewatched it, I might go lower. But watching it for the first time, it was probably a solid 3.5 for me.
Yeah. I mean, we do have to admit there's really no solid Cage outs. There's a lot of great lines, but there's no like real freak outs. There's him getting his ass kicked.
That's true though, but as in comparison to like the last movie where we only had one good solid freak out and like the rest of it we didn't really get anything throughout, we got like a nice spread of cageisms throughout the movie, which I think made it a lot more enjoyable.
And I do think Cage was pretty committed to this character.
Yeah.
I felt immersed in the story with his acting and not taken out of it like I've experienced with a number of his films.
Well, if you remember too, when we were recording, I even had like a point at the very beginning where you were like, "You actually there?" And I'm like, "This is just it's fast paced. There's so much going on. I'm like struggling to keep up with what's going on." And then like after the gunshot, like everything really slowed down, and it was almost like it was intentional to just kind of overload you with information in the beginning. And if you notice, like a lot of the key elements that you pick up on throughout the movie all took place in those first 5 minutes. But there was just so much going on that it was kind of hard to figure out what's important, what's not, what's going on.
And that is a great point. With a movie like this, the first, 10, 15, 20 minutes are absolutely essential to the rest of the movie. The whole setup, you have to pay particular attention to. But it can be difficult because they're also introducing characters. They're delivering lines very quickly. Things are moving so fast that it's hard to absorb everything. So I think what was nice about us watching it together is, at least for me, I was able to ask some questions and get some answers to things that I missed.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that there was an unused ending? Check this out. I'm getting this from Wikipedia. The original ending involved a huge tidal wave going through the casino.
Oh, man.
This visual effects heavy ending was cut and replaced with a reshot sequence in post, but numerous references to it still remain in the final film. A shot near the end of the film shows an ambulance driving down an oceanside road with a wave about to crash into it before the film cuts to another shot. I remember that. Rick Santoro talks about almost drowning at the very end of the film. Yeah, I wondered what that was about too, because he was never in water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And references to a storm are made throughout the entire film, which we mentioned earlier. And they were all meant to build up to this cut climax. There's your answer, guys.
That makes sense.
There it is. It's kind of a shame that all those holes weren't quite patched in.
It seemed likely that there was some purpose for it, but yeah.
Can we safely say that the IDF changed the ending of this movie?
God. Oh, man. I don't know what's going to happen to us making IDF jokes. We're probably the only podcast in the world. Oh, man. Our weapon systems are about to get shut down, folks.
It's okay. If Joe Rogan doesn't get shut down, then I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's a good point. Nic Cage did win a favorite actor in the suspense category at the Blockbuster Entertainment Awards, which I don't know if those are still happening, but
I think they are.
Job. Yeah. You want to know a fun fact about Gary Sinise? Guys, This is a little close to home. for us, Gary Sinise is actually, he's super active with his charity organization. Oh, he started the Lieutenant Dan Band. That's the character from Forrest Gump. They play at military bases around the world, but they also tour the country. And I know this because they visited our hometown, Steve and myself, Marietta, Ohio. And Gary Sinise came with the band, and they painted, Steve, I don't know if you know this, on, it's either Pike Street or Green Street. There's a building with this huge American flag painted on it. Really beautiful flowing flag.
Yeah.
Well, that was painted by Gary Sinise's organization.
Okay.
So they came and did some kind of outreach thing in Marietta many years ago. So, but I was surprised seeing him as the bad guy, even though I predicted it, kind of. I was like, oh, these Nic Cage and this guy are really friendly. Nick is about to get betrayed.
He just can't have good adult friendships.
But he did make some friends with some females, and that is what is important in a Nic Cage film, folks.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah,
He's
I
a
would say
lover, not a
3.5, 3.6 on my scale, on my gator scale.
How many iguanas out of 10?
I would give it 6 iguanas and then a half of an iguana, but the upper half with the head, not the ass end. And that's saying something.
Fucking iguanas.
Snake Eyes, everyone. Go out there and rent it today. John Hurd is in it.
Yeah.
That was Kevin's dad in Home Alone. Kevin's dad is in Snake Eyes, people. There's also Stan Shaw. That guy who's in also things that you have seen. Luis Guzman.
Luis Guzman.
Who is from Calle, Puerto Rico, where I've been many times.
Really?
And had no idea.
Just watch the movie. It's a good movie. It's worth watching. It's it gets a Cage approval.
Mike Starr from Dumb and Dumber and Uncle Buck. Hell yeah. Get out there and watch Snake Eyes.
Before it gets removed.
What's coming next, Steve? We got to let the people know.
The next movie on our list is 8mm.
8mm is next. Next is also a Nic Cage movie. Jeez. Have I already made that joke? Probably. Who cares?
But I'm pretty sure that's
8mm.
next season.
It is next season. Yeah, I made that mistake already in The Bad Lieutenant. I'm like, yeah, this season's going to be great. I can't wait to watch all these awesome movies with Sean that we're not actually going to watch this season.
I know. I actually pulled the list up because I was like, man, this is going to be great. We're starting with Snake Eyes and we're going to finish with National Treasure.
Yeah.
2 movies about conspiracy. But I forgot. Oh, we are ending with National Treasure, aren't we? We're Trapped in Paradise
We
1
are.
and 2.
I think National Treasure is like the natural ending for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally.
Yeah, actually, I think it is the end of the season. Because I think we're doing Trapped in Paradise early for Christmas.
Which, Sean, if it makes you feel better, I think we actually did a podcast about this before. That I don't know if you were a part of it, but
About Trapped in Paradise?
Yeah.
I definitely watched that one.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, that's what
And
we're
I
going to
think
watch
I lost it or something.
next week.
That's the next one then. Okay. All right. Wait a minute.
And
No, 8mm next week.
Well, no, I was wrong. I was looking at the order wrong. Trapped in Paradise is next.
Steve, you got to think about the people that are listening to this point and then they turn it off. I'm like, okay, 8mm next. Cool,
Yeah,
I'm done.
well,
Now they're going to be pissed.
yeah. I didn't have I had things organized by release here instead of by our planned watch date.
Did you fix it?
Yeah. So it's Trapped in Paradise
Okay,
next.
great. Oh, cool. I can't wait to watch that one again. But at least it will be with you guys.
It's a good movie.
So Trapped in Paradise, then 8mm?
Trapped in Paradise, and then the rest of the Christmas. We've also got Family Man, Christmas Carol. We've got.
Yeah,
we've
but
got
when is 8mm?
8mm doesn't come until after Christmas. So we just did Snake Eyes. Now we've got Christmas with Cage.
I know. I appreciate you being patient with me because I could always just look at that file and see for myself.
That's why I screwed up, so I have to fix it. First we did Snake Eyes, then we've got Christmas with Cage. We've got his Christmas specials, Trapped in Paradise, Christmas Carol.
All right.
And Family Man.
Well, I'm going to be releasing a graphic on our Facebook page for all you old people. That's where you can see the order of the films we're going to talk about. I believe it should be accurate. If not, I'll fix it. But that's going up soon, so you can follow along with us. We're going to keep this train going. We're going to keep this plane full of convicts going. You feel me?
See what you did there.
Because that is the life of Cage worship. That is what we do for our Lord. Any final thoughts on Snake Eyes? Last chance.
There aren't any actual snakes in the movie, so just...
Which is a surprise.
The name of the film is actually in reference to the vials that, what's his name?
Yeah. Luis Guzman.
Oh, I was going to say Sinbad was carrying.
Is that true?
Yeah, they were vials of Snake Eyes.
What does that mean, though? Is Snake Eyes a drug reference, or are they actual Snake Eyes? Is this a joke that I just don't get?
It's a joke that I don't get, and I made it. Find out more on the next episode of Late Night Cage Fight.
Because I thought they were AAA batteries.
I did too, actually. When I jumped about it first, I was like, oh, he's got a bunch of batteries on him. That's weird.
Yeah.
And then he started stomping.
Because it's the 90s. It's the 90s, so I thought maybe that was like for his cell phone or something. Oh, man. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. What a great discussion about this awesome film. Next time, we're going to be talking about Trapped in Paradise with Nicolas Cage. Remember, check out Dream Scenario next month. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Cage out.
Cage out.
Cage out. Love it.